everybody, and welcome back to another Harry Potter review. This time, we're going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. In the last review, I said that for the longest time, I think I said this at the end, I can't even remember, honestly. For the longest time, Goblet of Fire was my favorite Harry Potter movie. Well, that is not the case anymore after rewatching it. This movie has a lot of problems. Now, I'm reviewing this based off of the movies. The only amount of the books that I've read for Harry Potter were just parts of the first two books. So, I only have the mindset of the movies. I don't really know what happens in the book, so I did some, a little bit of research here. And apparently the book goes a lot more in-depth, as it should, because books are longer. But just it has a lot of key things that should have been in the movie, including the development of Harry and Ron's falling out, the twist with Mad-Eyed Moody, and just some of the other general things that just should have been elaborated on, because there's a lot of things that happen in this movie that don't really make a whole lot of sense. I guess I can just start off with the more, standard stuff here. The music's pretty good. It does feel a little different compared to the other movies. I know Prisoner of Azkaban had a little more of I don't know how to say it, more, I guess, unique soundtrack for that movie. The same thing is kind of true here, which fits because this movie changes the formula a little bit for your standard Harry Potter movie. It's not just Harry's going to go to school and learn about wizard things. It's no, he has to compete in the Tri-Wizard Tournament, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Special effects are way better now than they've been in the previous movies, as they should. Technology is advancing. And, it's just, you can especially see this with the first sort of trial that Harry has to go through, where he has to steal the egg from the dragon. And then flying over Hogwarts. Harry Potter at this moment in time has never looked any better than this. Okay, so let's actually get into the meat of the movie here. So, this movie was, again, directed by a different person. The first two movies were done by Chris Columbus. Last movie was done by Alfonso Cuarón. This one is done by Mike Newell. He only directs this one. And, I don't know if I'd really say, it's his fault for a lot of the things that don't really make any sense, but, this hasn't really been much of a problem before. So the whole movie revolves around the Tri-Wizard Tournament, which is basically the Wizard Olympics, right? And it's just this, I don't see how this could ever happen. Even in this wizard world, and this might be an issue for the book itself as well. There's just, why would you have a tournament where these kids could easily die? That's not a school-sponsored event. Granted, this is the same wizarding world that has racism and slavery everywhere. But, they have to fight, well, not fight a dragon, but they have to, escape a dragon, don't get burned alive by a dragon, basically. Don't drown to death, and don't get corrupted by this evil, magical, dark maze thing. They're just constantly put in situations that would kill them, and it's just... So, it's called the Tri-Wizard Tournament, right? So, there's 3 different people that go into it. You write your name down, you put it in the Goblet of Fire, if you're the right age, the age of 18, and they'll spit it out. And so, the cool thing about this movie is that we get to see 2 different schools, even if they really don't do a whole lot in the movie. We do get to see, I think it was a Bulgarian school, I think, and a French school, which is cool. It's cool to see other wizarding schools in this universe, because they're never seen again. But, yeah, so they each get their representative, and then the Goblet of Fire shoots out Harry's name. So, now there's 4 people. Instead of Harry just explaining to Dumbledore and everyone, hey, I didn't put my name in that thing, he just doesn't say anything about it until way after the fact that they're already competing. So, after he already spits his name out and whatever, Harry's Dumbledore runs up to him and starts shaking him. It's did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? And then Harry's no, I didn't do it. It's you should have said that to begin with. You should have started off at that point. So we have the Ministry of Magic dude there. He's the wizard government person, whatever. And he's the rules are the rules. Harry has to compete. But here's the problem with that. The rules have already been broken. You can only have 3 people competing. Harry being the fourth person, they already have a Hogwarts representative. And what if Harry just doesn't compete? The whole driving plot, the whole main story here for I guess it is the main story of the movie, just doesn't work. It's not believable at all. And I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. It leads to some interesting, cool new things that we haven't seen in previous Harry Potter movies, but it's just not believable at all, even for a Harry Potter movie. I'm kind of jumbling around a bit with the order of the plot and things. The pacing in the movie isn't that great either. So it starts off, Harry and Hermione are just staying at Ron's house in the middle of the summer. No explanation, they're just there. Then they're going to see a Quidditch game, and then they skip over the entire Quidditch game, and then, the wizard KKK is burning the place down. Uh-oh, that's not good. This all just happens out of nowhere, really. It's just things are happening on the screen. So the wizard KKK, they're the Death Eaters, whatever. So they're burning out the place. Harry gets knocked out. He wakes up. He sees Barty Crouch Jr. It's the same person that he saw in his dream at the beginning of the movie that I just forgot to mention. So the movie starts off also, this is before the whole football thing. The movie starts off and it's just this old guy in a house, and then he goes into this abandoned house because he sees a light flickering. And then I guess Voldemort's there in a chair, and so is Wormtail from the last movie, who was Ron's pet rat. It's just weird. And Barty Crouch Jr. And then the snake, whatever his snake is, Voldemort's snake, I can't remember the name. And then they kill this old guy, and then Harry wakes up because apparently he had a dream about that. I don't know who that old guy is. He's just there. So anyway, Harry sees the person from his dream at in the aftermath of the whole wizard KKK burning the Quidditch place down or whatever at this Quidditch game. And later in the movie it's revealed that the Mad-Eyed Moody, who's the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, because it's the fourth movie in a row now that has to have a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Mad-Eyed Moody is not actually Mad-Eyed Moody, but it was Barty Crouch Jr. the whole time. Throughout the whole movie, Harry is seeing different clues and things that could lead him to, coming to the conclusion that Mad-Eyed Moody is not who he says he is, but is probably Barty Crouch Jr. in disguise, considering this constantly references to the Polyjuice potion that he used in the second movie, so he already knows how that works. He's already done it. And there's constantly things like signs and things that are pointing to the fact that it is Barty Crouch Jr. And maybe Harry wouldn't notice, but maybe the teachers at the school would have noticed. I mean, Dumbledore first greets him and says that he's my longtime friend. Well, if it's your longtime friend, maybe you would realize that he's acting like an entirely different person. It just doesn't make any sense. Why? How did no one put two and two together here? That at least it's not Barty Crouch Jr., but he's clearly acting strange and there's something wrong. But the teachers don't care, clearly, because they have the Triwizard Tournament, so they already don't care about their students at all. Yeah, this movie just has a lot of issues. Like I mentioned earlier, Ron and Harry's falling out. That comes out of nowhere, and it is as quickly gone as it did arrive, I guess. So after everyone thinks that Harry put his name in the Goblet of Fire, Ron's mad at him, and then after Harry wins the first trial or whatever, Ron is just not mad at him anymore. They just resolve it like that, and then it's forgotten about for the rest of the movie. It's just so lazily done. This could have been something that went on the whole movie and could have been resolved at the end. A full story, instead it just kind of happens in the first act and is forgotten about. And that's just, that whole thing is stupid. I don't really like that part. This movie is also the turning point of the series. So we're about halfway through the series now because they split the last book into two parts, but this is where the series gets darker and more mature. Finally, with this movie, Voldemort has come back to life. At the end of this movie, he comes back. He kills Robert Pattinson. Because he's in this movie. This, I think, was his his first big movie. So he kills Robert Pattinson. He comes back to life. Harry and Voldemort are their wands are shooting at each other and they're connecting or something. And then just a bunch of ghosts come out of the wand or something. I don't know why that's happening, including the old guy from the beginning of the movie. So all these ghosts are coming out of the wands and stuff, and they're giving Harry encouragement. Except for that old guy. That old guy doesn't say anything. So I wonder what his thoughts are on this whole thing. Because I'm assuming he doesn't know anything about magic. It's just he was dead, and now a ghost of him has just popped out, and he's in a graveyard, and there's wizards fighting each other. And, I don't know what's up with that. That's just really weird. So how did they get to this graveyard? Oh yeah, so I might as well mention. The graveyard that they arrive to is at the end of the movie. It's the same graveyard from the beginning of the movie where this old guy was staying at in his house, or whatever. So the whole thing was, Mad-Eyed Moody's, Barty Crouch Jr., he's a Death Eater, was trying to get Harry to go to this graveyard so they could, do this ritual to bring back Voldemort. So how did they do this? Well, in the last trial, they get the cup, the Triwizard Cup, right? And it's a port key which teleports them. It's the same thing that they used earlier in the movie to get this Quidditch game. They used like a boot as a port key, which makes me really wonder how come Barty Crouch Jr. didn't just like say, Harry, here's this book, or Harry, here's this whatever, here's $20, go buy something, and just have that be the port key that teleports him right to Voldemort. Because I mean, at the beginning of the movie, Voldemort's ready to go. They're all ready to go. They're ready to do this thing, and yet he waits months and months and months on end, with the hope that Harry doesn't die throughout the Triwizard Tournament, and actually wins the Triwizard Tournament. I'm like, just why is this whole thing? The whole Triwizard Tournament just doesn't make any sense, and is the cause for a lot of problems in this movie that I have. And it's just stupid and not believable. Even for a movie about wizards and stuff, it's just not believable. Yeah, so I've complained about this movie quite a lot, but there are things that I like. I like that it changes the formula a little bit. It's the turning point for the series. The music, special effects, the acting, all that stuff is still good. We get to see some things that we wouldn't necessarily see in the other movies, like other wizard schools, these different trials and stuff. Even if they are stupid, it is cool. I mean, they do some cool visual stuff that I like using these trials. And I think that, I don't know, it still has a little bit of that Harry Potter charm that, that's found in the other movies. So, I'm going to give it my rating of okay. Because it's not a bad movie, but it's not that great either, to be completely honest with you. Out of the 4 movies that I've watched so far, this is definitely the weakest. And, yeah, this used to be my favorite Harry Potter movie. That is not the case anymore. Trust me, it's not anymore my favorite movie. If you're a Harry Potter fan, it's just calm down. But yeah, so it makes me wonder what I'm going to think of the rest of the movies in the series, because my whole belief in the, I don't know how to say it. What I thought about the movies have changed a little bit, at least shown by this movie. So yeah, I think it's okay. The plot isn't really explained. There's so many things that aren't really developed or explained and don't really make a whole lot of sense within the movie itself, because I haven't read the books. I shouldn't have to read a book to understand a movie. That's why it's a movie adaptation, right? It should stand on its own. It doesn't really do that here, but it does have some of the stuff that made the other movies good as well. So it's my score of okay. But that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Maybe you have similar thoughts on Goblet of Fire, but yeah, I'll see y'all next time when I review Order of the Phoenix. So, I don't really remember this movie that much, but who knows. Anyway, that'll do it. See ya.